What's up, fam? How y'all doing? I'm just trying to get something together. What's up? What's up, We Transport? I see you with the strong arms, baby. Go get it, go get it, go get it, man. Let's make it happen, man. Let's make it happen. It's out there. It is out there. Let's make it happen. Yo, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up, Instagram? What's up, Instagram? How you doing? How you doing this morning? Hey, man, listen. I just came on to do this real quick. Once again, my name is Mr. James Roberts. I am your host of the Freight Trapping Podcast in association with the Queen of Dispatch, Ms. Tawana Roberts, RTLA, Roberts Transportation and Logistics Academy, along with 18 Gear Consulting. How y'all doing this morning? How y'all doing this morning? Hey, man, just coming in to give you a little shot of Java to your coffee, man, to your coffee this morning. I've been lacking. I'm always talking to my homeboys in the trucking field. I had something going on last Thursday and Friday. So I wasn't in the field last week, and they talked about stuff I wasn't able to hear, right? So, man, real quick, another Texas-based trucking company shuts its doors, and they say they're going to do it before Christmas. Let me read this real quick, and then we're going to get into it. I have a question that I'm going to ask, but we're going to get into that Sunday. Make sure y'all go like, subscribe, and some of the videos at the Freight Trapping Podcast. If you're not a subscriber, go subscribe. If you are, thank you for being a subscriber, man. It means the world to me. On our podcast, man, you can ask us about anything transportation. We'll talk about it. We have people in the chat that have experience and maybe have experience in doing what it is you want to do. Maybe I can't answer it, but somebody in the chat can, or somebody that's listening can. But 9 times out of 10, I think I can kind of scratch the surface for you and get you moving toward where you want to be in the industry. Now, let's check this out. This is what I do. I check the news, I check the hot wire, and I try to bring something to you that you otherwise may not even hear or pay attention to. It may not affect you, but maybe it will. But at the end of the day, I'm going to put it out there. You can use it, you cannot use it. That's not on me. So check this out. Central Freight Lines, who is a Waco, Texas based carrier, has shut its doors, or will be shutting its doors. I know about 10 drivers over there. One of them I'm really close with. And one of the articles, let me go back to this one. In one of the articles, it was saying that they will shut their doors before Christmas, this Christmas. And that really just kind of hit my heartstrings, bro, when they said that they will shut their doors this Christmas. Let me tell you why. Because as a driver, you never, well, as a person in general, you never want to see anyone have to push reset. You don't ever want to see anyone have to say, okay, where do I go from here? Because at the end of the day, and I'm gonna tell you something, my homeboy that I talk to, he gonna be okay. But at the end of the day, you still don't want to see anybody have to push reset to begin a new career. Just like this young man named Massey. Matthew Massey recalls, this is an article. Matthew Massey recalls the first day on the job driving for Central Freight Lines in 1999. He was 21 years old. He climbed into a 1979 Freightliner, hitched to a 57-footer, which we don't even drive those no more, and went to make local deliveries around Fort Worth. So you can imagine a 1979 Freightliner, no power steering. He got a workout. So Massey went on to spend 15 years as a driver for the Waco, then moved into management, right? He built a career with Central Freight Lines. You have a lot of people. Let me tell you something. I was 18 years old. Had just got through just finished my final year of playing football at my high school. And me and my partner, we got hired on at Central Freight Line part-time. We did 5 to 6 hours in the evening, and sometimes more, because we made a relationship with the supervisor on the dock, and he allowed us to help begin to learn how to load trailers. And so we would get probably 7 hours, 6 hours, where, you know, as 18-year-olds, you was only supposed to get a limited number of hours. Well, not at 18, but because you were younger. Listen, Central Freight Line had been a staple on Mesa Road here in Houston, Texas for years. For years. They started a lot of people's careers. They employed a lot of youngsters to come and work on that dock. Pretty much the same thing that FedEx does. FedEx brings in and gives a lot of college students the opportunity to come in and start their careers, make a little money part-time while they're going to school, kind of offsetting some of that pay. And a lot of these freight companies do the same thing, but I know that Central Freight Line and FedEx is one of the companies that I see a lot of youngsters come in and they work throughout their whole college career, because the schedules are so flexible. They can come in part-time and, you know, run those forklifts and unload those trucks. So it's just really kind of sad to see that a Texas-based carrier that has over 95 years in the industry, 95 years in the industry, will be putting out about 2,100 workers. They'll be laying off almost 2,100 workers. And this probably is a shock to a lot of their drivers. It's a shock to me. And so at the end of the day, man, this is kind of breaking news. I hate to see any trucking company. You know, you see little mom and pops trucking companies kind of shut down here and there and then start over, shut down and start over, right? But when it affects that many people, 2,100, right before Christmas, I mean, that's pushing reset on somebody who's been driving for the same company for 30 years. Right? For 30 years. That's pushing reset on on a career that has been just they started there. You start your career at one place, and then now in the middle. I'm talking about in the prime of your life. In the prime of your life. So it goes on to say Massey's departure from the company was prompted by its money problems. He said because he left before then. He left before this happened. He spent 15 years there, but 10 years ago they had money problems. And 10 years ago, he had to leave. He said, "Now I had no choice but to leave." He said, "I had no choice." It's really disheartening. I have a lot of great memories from working there. I learned so much. I really became a man while there. I know I won't be where I am today if I hadn't worked there. Right. Central Freight Line was one of just a few large companies trucking related companies to receive the maximum available $10 million in COVID-19 related federal paycheck protection funding in 2020. That government loan was forgiven. Company President Bruce Kalem told the Wall Street Journal that Central Freight Line had $262 billion in revenue during its latest fiscal year, but added the company has been hemorrhaging cash and had operation losses for many years. Via release, Kalem said his company explored all available options to keep operations going. However, operating losses sapped all remaining resources of liquidity, and the company's liabilities far exceeded its assets, all of which are subject to liens in favor of multiple creditors. Despite diligent efforts, the company was unable to gain commitments to fund ongoing operations, find a buyer of the entire business, or fund a Chapter 11 reorganization. Simply put, nobody wanted to touch Central Freight Line. They had too much debt. They had too much liability. And they owed money out. And so that's what he meant, that they was hemorrhaging money. I just hate this happen for the drivers. I hate it happen for the drivers because now you say what's next. We know that it's plenty of jobs out there. Don't get it twisted. It's plenty of jobs out there. But after 6 years, 5 years of being at one company, and let's say you're 40 years old. Let's say you're 35 years old. Let's say you're 45. Let's say you're 50. You're trying to be with this company until you retire. And don't get it twisted. As long as you're okay, you can drive. Trucking doesn't have an age limit. You can drive, but as long as you're physically fit and mentally fit, and can get your medical certificate, you can drive until. But who wants to start over? Because I know if you go out there and say, well, I got this, I got my pension, I got my 401k, I had so much in it, I'm going to buy me a truck. Man, who wants to buy a truck? And you have to keep the wheels turning 24/7. No, not 24/7, but you got to keep the wheels turning. You may have to go back over the road. And at 55, 60, it's not a lot of people that want to be over the road. You can go back regional. It's not a lot of people that want to be regional. But my whole point is this here. It was the question is, where do drivers are probably asking themselves, where do we go from here? Where do I go from here? What do I do after this? First, it was a pandemic that we were fighting against. And now I'm fighting against being laid off. I'm for the driver. I'm just for the driver. I wish no ill will on any business management, none whatsoever. I'm thinking about where do we go from here as a driver? Some people may be okay with, I was finna retire anyway. Okay, cool. You was finna retire. But where do we go from here as a driver when a company decides to close its doors at the last minute and you had no clue? You had no clue. It ain't like when you get evicted, they have to give you a 30-day, they give you a 30-day notice or a 90-day notice. You know what I'm saying? It's not like that. They don't have to tell you anything. All they got to do is come up and say, well, guys, in 2 weeks, we'll be issuing your last paycheck. We'll be paying out any 401ks or whatever. But what's the point? Right? Where do I go from here? You've given me 2 weeks to put in applications. And at this time, right? At this time, in your lane, most companies are not doing any hiring. It's end of the fiscal year. They're getting their books together. They've already calculated, you know what I'm saying, what they got to pay out for the rest of the year, the new quarter starting. Most people, most companies that you want to drive for are not coming in hiring drivers during the holiday season. So as a driver, I ask you, where do we go from here? What do we do? What's the next step? Because a lot of drivers put all their eggs in one basket. Some drivers like myself, I have experience in tankers. I've driven I've driven oversized, I've driven flatbed, I've driven containers, I've driven roll-offs, I've did RPG trailers. I have experience in all of that. And now don't get it twisted, your experience is going to get you in the door. You got 15, 20, even 10 years, 5 years at Central Freight Lines of driving with no accidents, no wrecks, and your MVR is clean. Guess what? Now you're in the lane where you can say, okay, now what's next? Where can I go with next? What do I want to do next? I have no reservations that those drivers will land on their feet. But now the process of, you have a driver that's been there 10 years, he hasn't done a resume since he was hired. Now he has to go back into and make a resume. Where do we go from here? That's my question. Where do the drivers go from here? News of the 96-year-old company's plan to close filtered to its driver pool haphazardly, with many finding out via social media. Wow. You mean to tell me I find out that I'm pretty much losing my job via social media? See, that's what I like about my company. I mean, they don't tell us everything that's going on, because they don't tell us everything that's going on behind the scenes. But we do have CEO videos. I think if something like this was to happen, I think that my company would tell us and allow us to make plans in lieu of, instead of pulling the rug out from up under us and just letting us fall face first on the ground. That's what I believe. I could be wrong, but that's what I believe. I believe I work at a company that tries to be as transparent as they can with where we are as a company and as a work environment. And I think they would come in, do a pre-shift, and allow us. So what do you think your company, do you feel that way about your company? That's a question. How do you feel about the company you work for? Whether you're in transportation or accounting or whatever, how do you feel about the company you work for? Do you think they would be a little bit more transparent with you as a worker? I think for us as individuals working to make a living and, also, have plans of our own, I think that that's something that we should ask ourselves. How forthcoming is your company with what is actually taking place? News of the 96-year-old company's plan to close filtered haphazardly, with many finding out first through social media. Aaron Pipkin, who was running a local pickup and delivery route from Fort Worth for the carrier, said he was off duty this weekend and supposed to report back to the carrier Tuesday, and was told of his impending layoff by his wife. See, a lot of people gonna hear this and find out, but because I was off last Thursday and Friday, I missed it. People already know. But if I'd have said this the Sunday on the podcast, or if it would have came out then, that's how a lot of drivers found out. This man found out from his wife. And she found out on social media. She was on social media and said it looks like Central Freight Line is shutting down, adding that he planned to finish out the week with the fleet and handle any final deliveries. So he was a contractor. He was doing maybe some contract last mile work. And so Pipkin, who called the carrier over the weekend to confirm the Facebook post was true, said he received a formal call from the fleet on Monday, but only asking if I'd heard the news. Not informing him of the next steps, but have you heard the news? In many cases, speculation began to swirl before a company goes bankrupt or ahead of a major shakeup, but Pipkin said that there were no such rumors or discussions at Central Freight Line. So they just, woof. They didn't even do that. They had to find out through social media. None of us had any idea that it was this bad. Me and some of the other drivers were talking just the other day about the future, about how business might pick up some after the holidays. In hindsight, Pipkin, who joined the company just 4 months ago, said signs of the company's financial struggles were obvious. You could tell by the conditions of the terminal and how often they fix their trucks. It was like, do you guys not even have the money to make these repairs? It's just in the back of your mind. Why does everything look like it's falling apart? A tall tale that a company has lost its way is not being able to take care of its equipment. So that's why DOT is so heavy on pulling you in to hey, what's up, Daisy Hicks? I don't even know what that is. VS Text. I don't know what that is, Daisy. How you doing though? Welcome to the podcast. A tall tale is, and why DOT pulls you into the chicken coop when he see you rolling down the street and your equipment not in order. Hey man, do you even have the resources to? Is your truck even up to par to be on the highway? Come here, pull in. Let me do a check on you. Let me do a level 1. Okay? Yeah, but this falling apart. Let me go on and do a level 2. Okay, that fell apart. Let me do a level 3. Drivers recognize this stuff. Drivers are not just running around here with blinders on. Hey man, what's going on? We can't get none of this stuff fixed. Now at this particular point, you can ask, we can't get nothing fixed, and there's a legitimate answer for that. We don't have the parts. The parts are not here. You can't fix what you can't get. So we don't have the parts to fix the trucks. That's different from not having the resources to fix the truck, or the resources to fix the trailer, or the resources to fix forklifts. See, I know that it may be a break even operation cannot sustain is in this market. You're right. We transport. You are absolutely right. A break even operation cannot sustain in this market. You're absolutely right. You have to be above where you started in order, because your profits help you sustain. You're absolutely right. Your profit helps you to build so that when you do have a breakdown, or when you do have an issue, or when you see in this trucking, you got a lot of people, and well, in this world, period, no matter where you're working, you got a lot of people that's hung up on, oh, I'm going to sue you. Oh, you got a truck? You got a little money. I'm going to sue you. That's where we are. That's the world we live in. I'm going to sue you because you cut me off. I'm going to sue you because you did this, and you're a trucker and you're a professional and you supposed to know how it goes. Nah. That's why he said a break-even operation cannot sustain in this market. You have to have profit. And let me show you another way that you have profit, is that you limit your liabilities. Meaning you take care of your equipment before it break down, meaning do a proper check, pre-trip, post-trip. You catch things before they happen, before they get big. Then the next thing you do is you make sure that whatever gets on your trailer, that it is properly packaged, so that in the event you have to stop, brake, make a turn, or you bump a curve, stuff won't go all everywhere in the back of your trailer, and perhaps put a dent in your trailer walls, put a hole in your trailer walls. See, that's one thing that I noticed, the way I work at. What's up, Mr. Mike? What's happening, baby? I see you. One thing that I notice is that we don't pick up anything that's not palletized. Why? Because the liability is too high. As a driver, it's your responsibility to make sure that when you pick up a product, that is packaged properly. When you pick up some pipe, you need to make sure that they put pipe stakes, or that you have pipe stakes, and then that they put chokes behind the pipe so that they won't roll. And if they do move, they don't move far, because you got chokes on both sides, and then you have straps going over. You got straps going all the way down the load. That's called pipe securement. That means that it won't move. You won't lose your load. It's the same thing for anything. If you hauling oversized, if you're hauling a container, you have locks on the container. Then you put zip ties through it to make sure that those locks don't move. It's called load securement. Now, when you get to the freight side of it, when you get to these vans, now when you load something, You got to make sure you're too high. You're not too high. You're not heavy, which they call top heavy, meaning that if a gust of wind come through, and if you're top heavy and you got stuff loaded to the top, or even if you hit a curve, if you're top heavy, that means that boom, when you hit a curve, now any gust of wind gonna make you topple over because you top heavy. That's why when you load pups and you load all of this kind of stuff, you can only put a certain weight on that second deck because you don't want to be more heavy at the top than you are at your base. That's just common geometry. Now, if you put something loose on the deck, guess what? It's finna fall over and tear up everything that's up underneath it. And I think that's the issue they were having at Central. I think they were having issues to where they were just picking, that a lot of their stuff didn't have to be, that I seen when I worked there. A lot of their stuff didn't have to be palletized. Bro, it was, man, we were getting pipe that didn't have to be palletized, man. Those guys was just picking it up, bringing it in. And just imagine you making a right turn, a left turn, you stopping, you starting. These pipe are just rolling, doing this, doing that. And then at the end of the day, you don't want to be doing a lot of putting nails in the floors of your van. You don't want to do a lot of that. Now with a flatbed, it's different. But with a van, you don't want, even in a flatbed, you're not putting nails in your floor. That's a lot. That's a lot. So, man, I just had to say something about this particular subject. Central Freight Lines is closing its doors before Christmas. Caleb said his company is coordinating with other regional LTL carriers to afford its employees opportunities. Okay, so I asked the question, where do we go from here, and what does your company do for you? So Caleb said that they're trying to coordinate with other regional LTL carriers to afford its employees opportunities to apply for other LTL jobs in the area. If there's a bright spot for Pipkin and his soon-to-be former co-workers, is that they enter a job market starving. I just said it. Starving for drivers. Pipkin said he's already received several emails and outreach for interviews. That's the bright spot, is that we are hurting for drivers and Central Freight Line has drivers. But the question is, and I'm always like this here, drive for a company that is not a job that you love going doing what you do. Go drive for that company you love doing what you do. Don't just go get a job just because for the sake of having a job, because then you'll be mad about going to work. Love what you do and take and make the right choice for you and your family. Hey man, I just want to come on and say what's up, say good morning, give y'all a shot of Java to you. Hey man, you guys have a good day. I'm finna get out of here. I was just on here real quick because I was in here and I wanted to talk about that little bit of information. So you guys have a good day, and we'll see you guys next time. We'll see you guys next time.